so that yes, okay. So now, if you remember about yesterday that we saw that we have CSS for styling as well as we have HTML for basically making elements and showing the data on the screen, right? So now you can see that I have this Firefox browser opened, and if you can see that I have this new tab, I have a fav icon of Firefox icon, and then I have this main search icon. Basically, all of these are nothing but HTML and CSS, right? So if I press F12, then you can go to inspect, and then you can see that I can select each element that I have. I can select the root element as well as other elements that are present. So if I just keep on going, then you can see that I can like select basically elements on my screen. So what I can do with the JavaScript is that if you remember that I said document is basically the web page, right? So this entire web page that is available for me right now, this entire web page is basically the document. So if I say uh, document dot write, and then I can say that this is my web page, right? So you can see that entire web page has been changed, right? So this is the work of JavaScript. What we can do is we can manipulate how our websites work, how the CSS and the HTML will work using JavaScript, right? So what we can do as well as like if I just refresh it, things will come back to normal because I have used something called as developer tools that I believe I have told you about yesterday, if you can remember. So yesterday we only saw the inspect tab of the developer tool, but today we will be basically working with the console. So if on the Windows, if I say CMD, okay, then basically this command prompt is my console for my computer, right? I can do anything using this command, using this CMD. As long as I have access the ability to this CMD, I can basically control my entire computer however I want. So basically, in browsers, we have something called as console, right? So using the console, you can basically I can say that manipulate the elements as well as get important information about your web pages as well as test or debug your entire web page using the console. Also, as I said, the browsers are actually working on a JavaScript engine. So browser itself is able to run the JavaScript without downloading anything. That means if you want to use JavaScript, you don't actually need to download anything like how we will be doing tomorrow, where we will be downloading the Python and then we will be downloading the Django and then we will be creating the website, right? So there we have to download exe file, we have to install it. Only then we will be able to use that particular programming language or particular functionality of a programming language that we have. Right, but JavaScript is basically inbuilt in a browser. As long as you have a browser, you are able to run the JavaScript. Okay, and again, this VS Code is also built on top of, I believe, Electron, which is again built on top of JavaScript, right? So using JavaScript, you can create desktop application. You can also create a website application, as well as you can use something called as React Native to create mobile application. Right. So if you learn JavaScript and then you are going too deep into the JavaScript, then you can basically become a desktop a native application or a Windows application or even a web developer or even a cloud developer, right? So JavaScript is basically a good language if you want to learn it as your first language. That is also good. But I hope that most of you are already familiar with the JavaScript or programming languages in general. You must have learned C++. So we will be saying that there are actually some, I can say that, some things are similar how they work in programming languages. We will be seeing that, and also we will be having some examples of how these things work. But I don't really want to go too deep into it, so I will be explaining them on the higher level so that you can understand the basic concept. And tomorrow when I will be giving you some refresher, or if we have time today, then I can give you some refresher on the Python, so that tomorrow when you will be working with Django, you will be actually needing the Python more then then you will need JavaScript, right? So tomorrow, if today we don't have time, then tomorrow for 15 or 30 minutes, I will give you a refresher of Python. So don't worry about that, that you will be not able to work with the Django, right? So don't worry about that. So for today, let me start with JavaScript. So as we have already done that, I can go to console and then I can write the like JavaScript. There are also other way where if I go to my script, then this is the basic uh, HTML script, right? So if I again get the Emmet abbreviation and then if I just give it the name of JS day 4, so there are a couple of way where I can write the JavaScript. So I can write the JavaScript in the head tag. I can say script, and then I can start writing, let us say console.log, and I can say that this JS is in head tag, right? And also if I just say h1 and then if I run it, just let it alone for now. Yeah, so you can see we have hello world, that was the h1 element. So if I go here now in the console, you can see I have this JS is in head tag, right? So as I said that JavaScript files are read from top to bottom. So what is happening is that this is loading before your document, right? And you can also do things like, let us say I have a script. So I can also, you have seen that we have like, added a CDN, right? So we can also do that if we have a JavaScript based CDN. Let us say I want to import chart.js, right? So let us say I have chart.js, which allows me to use JavaScript to create interactive chart, right? Just like how in Microsoft Excel we have a functionality to add chart. In JavaScript also we can use something called as chart.js, or we can use something called as D3 JS, so that it can like give us functionality to add chart, right? So things like those need to be loaded first. That is only when we can use those functionalities, because to use the functionalities of those kind of features, or I can say let us say CDNs, we want to load them first. So that is why we have we have like access to write JavaScript in the head tag also. But as I said, it is a good practice to write the JavaScript just below, like just when the there is closing tag of body. So just above the closing tag of body, you can write it. So you can again you can use the script tag. Just like in the CSS, we have the style tag, we have for JavaScript, we have the script tag. And you can also write, I can say in between. So let us say I have another P tag where I can say this is a paragraph. And then if I say like script, and now I will say document dot write, and then I can say hi, right? And then I will again say h1, this is, and then dot, right? And here I can say again JavaScript script. I can like run any script. Let us say console.log, and now I will say 5 plus 6. Okay, so just see what happens. So now I have this is para, and I also have hi, and then I have this is dot, and then we have hello. So if you can see, then we have like document dot write where it says hi. So now you will say last time, sir, when you had run document dot write, and then if I run it in the console, then you can see everything has been changed, right? So you will be also seeing these things, why they are happening. So basically, there are 4 ways to print something on the screen, right? Just like in Python, we have print statement, and then we can print something. In the JavaScript itself, we have 4 different ways. First is to print something on the document, that is web page. Second is to print something in an HTML element. We already have an element. Now we would like to print something in that particular element. That we can also do using JavaScript, and we can also do something like play around with the actual window. Now, as I said, this white part that I have where the anything I'm typing is visible is called the document. That is our main web page. But I also have like this tab, right? So if this tab is day 4, this is thing like JavaScript where to, and then this new tab. So this is all the new tab and they are the window, right? So I can also say like window dot alert, and then I can say hi. Then you can see I have this pop-up menu, and if I click anywhere on the screen, I cannot actually like access it. So what this is like, I am actually playing with the window, right? So now I have this window appear on top of in CSS I said that there are layers where I can say like this is the bottommost and this is the upper layer. So basically window is like the highest layer. So unless and until I say like okay, I will not be able to access my DOM. There are ways to access it, but like for a normal user who don't really know anything about JavaScript or console, they can't like really play around with it without like accessing the console. So there are also ways to print something using the alert, and it is not really recommended, but you can see a lot of websites are there where they ask you to like click on something, only then you will be able to access their website. That is basically done using alert or dialogues. Then there is one more method, which was to, okay, so we actually covered like window, document, and then inner HTML. And I think there is one more method that we can see. Yeah, there is, I think, print method, which let you like print your entire document using your printer. So you can like, basically print it. In CSS, we saw that CSS takes care of the styling so that it doesn't matter if it is on the screen or printer or downloaded PDF, it will look same, right? So basically you in the print function in the JavaScript is actually takes your print of a document. Whatever document you have, you can just basically print it using the printer. And we'll also see what are the other methods later on. So basically, let's start with the basics of JavaScript, where, as I said, that you can write the JavaScript in the script tag. So if I just click on try it to yourself, then you can see that I have the HTML tag, even though I don't have a head tag, but there is a body tag. Okay, as I said, you don't actually need a head tag or any tag. You can basically write one tag and then it will be rendered on the screen. But it is a good practice to write a head tag so that your browser can like get more metadata about your website, so that your overall search engine optimization is much better. Okay, so in the body tag, you can see we have the h2 tag and we have a p tag with the ID of demo. Now in CSS, we saw that there are selector where I can say hashtag and then the name of ID and dot and name of class. So basically in JavaScript, we have functionality of get element by ID or get element by class name or get element by like query selectors or even like name of the tag. Okay, so we can select it by that. I am selecting getting the element by the name of ID. Then I will use double like inverted comma, and then I will say the name of tag. And then as I said, we can like enter the text inside an HTML element. So we have inner HTML. So inner HTML is basically inside the HTML element that we are targeting right now. What I want to print is my first JavaScript. So if I run it, then you can say it is like inside the p tag, I have like my first JavaScript basically. So this was the basics of JavaScript, how you can print something, how you can play around with the elements of your HTML, and how you can access them through the JavaScript. Okay, so now moving on to, let's see how we can print an output. Yeah, so as I said, so first is inner HTML that we saw, and there is also document that document.write. But about document.write, as I said that using document.write after an HTML document is loaded, it will delete all existing HTML. So you saw that when I use document here, so I'm using document.write hi, it was printed, but when I was using it in a console, it removed everything, and only hi was printed. That is because the basic functionality of document.write is that it will delete anything that is loaded after we have after we are running it. So let's say we have a button where the functionality of button is to document.write and anything. Then if you click on that button, it will basically erase everything, and only the particular bits that document.write is about to print, only that will be visible. Second is like we saw window dot alert, but you can also just write alert. Okay, it will also work because the JavaScript is smart enough to know that only just writing alert is a function for window. For like there is basically categories of function specifically for the document, functions specifically for the window, and the function specifically for the HTML or let us say console. So the JavaScript already knows it, but sometimes it is a good practice to write it. But you can go along with this also, and you will see that lot of website actually just use alert and then whatever condition or whatever they want to print, and they use it like that. They don't even write window. That is also completely fine. And second, we saw that JavaScript has a print where I can say window.print. Actually, print is again a functionality of window. So the fourth method of printing something will be the console.log. So basically, the log method is like we are logging something, right? So let us say there is a website and you are having some kind of problem. If you call their customer center and they are not able to figure out anything, they might take access of your computer using any disk or something. Then they will check your console log and they will say that what is being logged on your console. So let us say currently I have this like this U block, which is an extension for the ad blocking. So that means something will be blocked, right? So if I just click on F12 and go to console, then you can see there are a lot of warnings, right? The warnings are that it is not able to print something because the extension might be blocking something, right? So you can say that blocked on this page is like 3. Right. So you can get this information from the console.log, and you can also get a lot of information about a web browser if you just check it in their console. Let us say you are having some kind of issue with login, or let us say there is some kind of issue and your website just keep loading. Then you can see that why, if there is any network issue or there is any issue in the backend, and then you can solve it like most probably. So remember, console.log is used more by developers where they are like we try to log something. We try, let us say there is an error, and we know that errors might happen here. Then we try to console log it so that when the error will happen, we will know that there is an error. Else, we will not know anything because JavaScript is basically like web browsers in general are like whatever they can render, they will render. Else, it will not work, right? So console.log is one of the functions which can help us debug our code. So basically, if I just move on to the JavaScript syntax, then you can see I can declare a variable as well as use a variable. And I don't have to provide what is the type of variable when I'm declaring it, right? So here I can see I have declared a variable using var x, or let us say let y. We will see what is the difference between var, and we will also see what is the difference between like let const and var, and we will see what is difference between declaring and using a variable. So here I am just declaring a variable. I am saying that var x. So the x has been declared. Now I can access the x, and then I can say that x is equal to 5, or I can also write that var x equal to 5 and then colon. Now again in JavaScript, colon is not important, it is optional, but it is a good practice to write colon, because if you remember in C and C++, we basically write a colon to say that the statement has been completed, right? So in JavaScript also we can say that there is a semicolon, that means this particular statement has been completed, but it is important that you write semicolon. It is actually a best practice so that your code is more readable, it is more clean. So basically I think we can see this letter. So I can go to first, let's go to the comment. So there are two ways to add a comment in JavaScript. First, we can just write like this. So let us say I have this script tag and I can say that double backslash, and I can say this is let us say this is a comment, and if I want to add a multi-line comment, let me just zoom in. So this is a comment, that is a single line comment. So I can say that this is a single line comment, whereas I can say this is a multi-line comment. Okay. So there are ways to like write both single line and multi-line, but if you remember that in the HTML part where I discussed that we can write comment. So you remember that there is single line comment, there is multi-line comment, as well as in HTML there is inline comment. That means I can write a comment in between here. So let us say if I say this is a inline comment, right? So this is completely valid. Okay, the inline comment in HTML is completely valid, but I cannot write an inline comment in, let us say, JavaScript or CSS. And even if I can, it is really not a good idea to do that. Okay, so if you are writing comments, just write a single line or a multi-line comment. And basically, you should write it when there is like something, a tricky code, or let us say there is a tricky code block, as well as let us say you want to explain a functionality of a particular function or class. Okay. So let's come back after we have covered the comments. Let's move on to the variable. So basically, there are four ways to declare a variable. First is automatically we can just declare x equal to 5 or something, and then we can say using var x equal to 5, and then we can say let x equal to 5, or let us say we can say const equal to const x equal to y, right? But the difference between var, let, and const is that we can redeclare a variable using var. Okay, so if I go here, let us say in the script tag, if I'm saying that var x equal to 5, right? And then, sorry, if I say var y equal to 6, or let us say we can say x var x equal to 10. Right now you can see I am not getting any kind of error, right? I am just declaring x again. Okay, that is redeclaration because I am using the var keyword, which is basically a keyword. We will see what are keywords later. We will see all the list of keywords that are there specifically for the JavaScript. But think about this: if you are using var, let, and const, that means you are declaring a variable. Whereas if a variable is already declared, like var x equal to 5, and now you want to change the value of x, then you have to just say x equal to 6, and the value of x will be changed. Okay, so this is the difference between declaration and changing the value of a particular variable. Okay, but in var I can redeclare it. But now if I say that let me change it to let, and now if I say that let x equal to 6, now I'm getting an error which says that cannot redeclare block scope variable x, right? So basically we will come to what is scope later. If I tell you what is scope, you will probably get confused. So I cannot redeclare same variable again. In C and C++, if you have seen, you will see that it is really not possible to like redeclare a variable again, right? Specifically not if we are outside a function or outside a class, right? So we cannot redeclare, but var lets you redeclare. Okay, remember it. We can also not redeclare anything if we are using const, right? So in const also I can say cannot redeclare a block statement, right? But in let, when I have let, okay, then I can do this, that is change the value of x from 5 to 6. That means the value can be changed. Okay, on var and on let, my overall value can be easily changed, but I cannot redeclare it when I'm using let, and I can declare it when I'm using var. Remember it. But things change when I have const, right? So if I have a const, and now if I say x equal to 6 and I try to run it, it will give me error. So basically, remember that in var, I can redeclare and also like change value. Okay. And on let, I cannot redeclare, but I can change value. And on const, same, I cannot like redeclare it, and I also cannot change values. Okay, So let us say I have an array of const array1 equal to so let us say a q w r, right? So I have already declared an array, but I can obviously in const what people thinks are once it is been declared you cannot change it, but actually you can. So let us say I have this array. So what I can do, I can add new values, I also change it, but I cannot change it entirely. So let us say if I say array1 equal to, and now if I say a B, and then if I say C, this is not possible. Okay, we will see this in detail with example when I will be coming back to the website. But this, just think about this as let var and const as this. Okay, so basically in var you cannot redeclare. Like you can redeclare and you can also change the value, but it is not good thing to use var because in 2015 when the ES6, that was ECMAScript 6, that was like specification for the JavaScript, right? So there is also version of JavaScript and HTML and CSS, right? So currently we are on HTML5 and CSS3, and we are on like JavaScript 2023 or 21 22 I think. So each in on like every version there is some kind of changes, and like let us say there is security changes, or let us say there is some new functionality. So let and const were added in 2015. So before that, when every time we had to declare, we used to use var and then the name of variable, and whatever the value is there, maybe there is no value, we will define the value later, right? So, but we in the modern JavaScript, we try to tell everyone that try to use let and try to use const. Okay, so we'll see everything in detail. So let me come back to the variable section. So you can see that it is considered a good programming practice to always declare variable before you are using it. Okay. So currently I have like var x equal to 5 and var y equal to 6, and I have var like z equal to x plus 5. Then it will basically give me 11. Right. So next is like we can see that var keyword was used in JavaScript code from 1995 when it was like there was like version 1 of JavaScript, or let us say when the JavaScript was introduced to 2015. The let and const keyword were added in JavaScript in 2015, and var keyword should only be used in code written for the older browser, where the browser was like not supporting the let and const, right? So browser before 2015, where let us say those versions of browser will not be supporting it, but basically every modern browser that we have supports let and const because it has already been more than 7 to 8 years now, and basically virtually every browser supports. But if you have browser version like 30 or 40, or let us say even 50 for some browsers, then it may not work. There are also cases where you need to you need to use an older version of browser. I have personally seen cases where people are using Firefox version 55 because some websites only work there perfectly. Their testing department has said that everything works perfectly on the version number 55. So you have to see these things also. So I think, yeah. So when to use var, let, or const. So always declare variable. We saw that. Next is always use const if the value should not be changed. Okay, if the value we are not changing it, or if always use const if the type should not be changed, like array or object. Every time we declare something, you saw that I don't have to say that this particular thing is number. I can just write 5. It will know that this is an integer. I can just write like YASH in double inverted comma. Then it will know that this is a string, right? So if you want to specifically say that this is an array and the type should not be changed, then you should use const. Okay. Second is only use let if you cannot use const. Basically, they are saying that using const is a good practice. But again, you can use let and also const. But if you have the older browser, you must use var. So next, let's look at the let variable. So as I said, that variable defined with let cannot be redeclared, and variable defined with let must be declared before we are using it. So in JavaScript, like or in any compiled language, you must have seen that I have a variable, or let us say I'm using a variable and I'm not declaring. Let us say I say x equal to 5, but I am only specifying x equal to 5. I am not declaring it with, let us say, var x equal to 5. And then if I print the value of x equal to 5, and I'm printing console.log x, then I will not get anything because I have not actually declared the variable. I am only using it. But if I declare the variable, let us say var x equal to 5, and then I print it, then I will get the answer as 5. Right? So because we are not declaring it, that means we cannot use it right now, but when we declare it, we will use it. But it is not a good practice to do that. So that is why they are saying that variable defined with let must be declared before we are using it, and the variable defined with let have like a block scope. We will see what are scopes. So basically for now, you can say that every time we have a curly bracket and starting and ending, the everything that comes between that curly bracket is a one scope. Okay, your entire document is big, like global scope. Anything that comes under the document, under the document, let us say in a curly bracket, that will be that particular scope. Okay, we already saw that this is cannot be declared. It is yeah. So variable declared inside a curly bracket cannot be accessed from the outside of block. So let us say you have a for loop where you are saying that for some condition you are looping over something. So there you will have like curly bracket, right? So whatever is there, it will be only accessible to there unless you are like making it possible to be accessible from outside. Okay, so let's look at const of. As it says, like the variable defined with const cannot be redeclared, and variables defined with const cannot be reassigned. Okay, and the variable defined with const have a block scope again, just like let. Okay, so let's see what else we can see. Yeah. So there are do's and don'ts of const, like reassign a constant value, reassign like this is you cannot do, like you cannot reassign a constant value, or you cannot reassign a constant array, and you also cannot reassign a constant object, but you can change the element of a constant array. So let us say we already have an array, then we can change the element of that particular like already defined array, and we can also change the property of a constant object. So let us say I have an object. We'll see what are objects. So basically you can say that in Python you have list, right? So we basically use similar syntax to write array, and for object we are using similar syntax as Python dictionaries. Okay, so for now, we'll come to arrow in detail later. But for now, let's see that, let us say I have this. So it says const car, Volvo and BMW, but it is saying that the first element, that is 0, arrays always start from 0 to from 0, right? In computer science, you can know that anything that most of the things start from 0. There are some exceptions that start with 1, but everything like start with 0. So let us say if I say car 0 equal to Toyota, and then I can say car dot push Audi, then I will get Audi at the end. Okay, we will also see what is push and pop, how they work. And basically push adds the element at the end of an array. Okay, so let's look at the basic operator that JavaScript has. So in C++ or something, you must have seen that you have x plus y, or like you can add a number like 5 plus 6, and let us say 5 multiplied by 6. So basically we also have an operator in the JavaScript. There are actually a lot of operator in JavaScript. So to remember them, what I will say is that, let me come to, yeah. So here is the plus operator, where the operator is plus and is performed the addition. So 5 plus 6, and second will be the like 6 minus 5. The multiplication will give you 5 minus 2, like 5 multiplied by 2, and the exponent is basically 5, like double star 2 will be like 25. There will be division as well as modulus, and we have increment and decrement, where in C and C++ you must have seen that there is something called as like let us say I plus plus, which will be like current value of I is like 5, then plus plus will be 6, and minus minus will be like 5 minus 1, right? 4. So we also have the increment and decrement operator. I think all of you are already familiar with this kind of concept. So that we'll move on to like yeah. So this is important, where I have the assignment operator. So basic operators like these things you must have used in the calculator also. But there are like operators like, and this is also really easy operators, like let us say you are basically saying that, let us say I have x plus equal to y, then I'm saying just x equal to x plus y, x minus equal to y is like x equal to x minus y. Basically what we have done is, instead of writing this entire thing, we are just like writing the short form of that particular expression. Okay, so you can also remember it, but you can again write x equal to x multiply like exponent of y, x modulo of y. That is completely fine. Now, this is important where we are talking about the JavaScript comparison operator. So we have equal to operator. So in like C or C++, if you are comparing something, let us say I'm comparing x equal to y, right? So if the x equal to 4 and y equal to 4, then I will get true, right? That both of them are equal. But in JavaScript, if I say x equal to 4 and I say x like y equal to string, like for, the type will be string, so double column, so let me just write it. So let's say I have x equal to 4 and if I say y equal to 4. Okay, so now this is a number like integer and this is a string. But in JavaScript, if I say x equal to 5, then I will get true. Okay, but if I say x triple equal to 5, then it will also not only check the value, it will also check the operate, like type of the like value, whatever value we have, they will have a type. So what is the type of value as well as what is the actual value, it will check all of them. So basically, if you are comparing it with like C, C++, where we are checking x equal to y, so basically in JavaScript, it is x triple equal to y. Basically, we have not equal to as well as not equal to value, or like we are where we are actually like also checking the type. So not equal to value or not equal to type of that value. As well as we can also like it's fairly simple, greater than and less than, as well as greater than equal to or less than equal to. And we also have a ternary operator where in Python you must have seen, we can say that x and then some condition ternary and then the whatever the value it will be printing. So that is also possible using the ternary operator. But we have like alternative of lambda function in JavaScript, which is called as like a arrow function, where you can write single line conditions. So again, as you said, we have string, where to declare a string, what we have to do is we have to like add it in a like double inverted comma. So if I have John and Doe, and then basically in like all the programming languages that we have seen, like C, C++, where I can add like text, and if I say like I'm not giving a space, then you will see that John Day, there is no space. Okay, and just like that, we also have things like we have so let us see if I can also write something like double ticks. Okay, so if I write double ticks and then I can say sorry, yeah, let text 4 equal to, then if I say like double tick, so I can also say something like that. Okay, like in okay, I forgot the syntax for that, but I believe it is, yeah. So it is the dollar sign, and then we have text 2. Okay, and if I say text 4 and run it, I get like John plus Doe, because I have this plus, and if I remove it, then I will get John Doe. Okay, so we can also have in Python, you must have seen that we can enter a name of variable in between the print statement, and it will print the value of that variable. So to do that in a JavaScript, we have to use backticks. Okay, backtick is basically on your keyboard, you can see like on the left side of number 1 and above the tab button. So that is a backtick. We can use backtick, and then we can say dollar sign, and then I can have curly braces and the name of variable, and then whatever I am writing, it will be printed as it is. Okay, so those are basically the string, where we can add a string, and again we can also like use the other. So x equal to x plus y, I can also do that. So I have like x, and then I am declaring other thing. So in this case, I have text 1, where I have already declared it, and the second will be like nice day. So it will be text 1 equal to text 1 plus nice day. So that the answer I will get is what a very nice day. Okay, So next is like, again, I can add a string and number, because we saw that if I say double equal to, then it will not check the type of, like, your whatever value is there. If it will just print it. So basically we can also add like string and phi. You can see that if I say phi, string phi plus phi, then I'm getting 55 basically, but the type, overall type will be changed. And also I can say hello phi, right? It is also basically declared. So I can do that, but this is not suggested. It is important that you are checking the type. Okay, there is something called a strict type checking. In the TypeScript, you cannot do these things. Like, you are checking the type of whatever variable and value you are doing strictly. Okay, so this is not a good practice, but remember that these things can happen, so that if you are getting any kind of error, you will know like what the issue is. Next, again, just like any programming languages, we have like logical and various and or not operator, and we also have like way to check the type of variable. So I can say type of, and I can also say that instance of particular variable. So let us say if I say type of X, that will be like what is the current type of X. So let us say X is equal to string, then I can get a value type of a string, and I can also check the instance. When we will be learning about objects, then you will understand how the instances are working. So again, I have the bitwise operator. You can say like and then or, not, as or, as well as like left shift and the right shift. I believe if you have learned C++, this is a really self-explanatory stuff, and we don't really have to look at it really. And we are the chances are you are using like bitwise operator are really low in your program. Like not many people are actually using it on like a day-to-day, like unless you actually need it, then you will be like typing it. But for most of the time, we are just using it for the document object manipulation that we'll be looking at, so that we can change the element of HTML and CSS. So these things, type of things are actually we are not really using on like daily basis, unless you are a JavaScript developer, where you are actually using these things on like daily basis. You are a core JavaScript developer. So second is like, again, we have already looked at the arithmetic things. They have just given the examples. You can go around and check the example for yourself. Again, as I said, this kind of things are like, if you don't practice on your own, you will not learn anything, right? So what I want is just see, you have these exercises, and if I say multiply 10 with 5, so I can just like, say star operator, right? And submit the answer and get like whatever, if it is right or not. So you can also do these things. These are really simple exercises, and they will help you a lot. So next, we have looked at the assignment operator also. Now let's look at the data type that are available. So basically, in Python, if you know that we have string data type, we have like number, and we also have like one more data type, I think. But in JavaScript, we have string, we have number, and we also have a big int, right? So there is an integer. Yeah, in Python there is float, but here we have like just we have the number. Okay, if you say 5 and 5.3, they are both, the type is number. And we also have a big int where you can like declare a number that is bigger than the allowed limit of a number. We also have booleans like true and false. We have something called as undefined. So let us say if I say let X and don't like just I'm declaring it, I'm not giving it any value, then it will be undefined. That means the value of this particular variable is not defined. The JavaScript engine do not know what it is, but it knows that this variable has been declared, and it will make some space for that particular variable in its memory. Okay, every time it is when you declare a variable, you know that your CPU and the memory management makes some kind of space for your variable, right? So when you declare it, there will be some memory, but it will be undefined. That you can later define. Let us say I have let X, and then I'm not declaring it. I can, on the second line, I can say X equal to let us say if I say yes, that will be type of string, and it will be stored on the X, as well as like I can say X equal to 5, that will be number of type. And let us say I can say X 5.5, that will be also number, and will be stored and at that location. Okay. Second is basically null, where we are saying it doesn't have any value. We are like explicitly telling it is not undefined, but it doesn't have any kind of value. Second is symbol. Symbol is basically we are declaring it and it cannot be like changed. Once we declare a symbol, it cannot be changed. It has become a symbol. Let us say in a company where they have a particular logo, right? So that logo is theirs and it like they cannot change it. Let us, although they can change it, but it is not a good idea to change it, right? So that is symbol. And then we also have object. And inside object, we have again like object itself, and then we have array, and we have also dates that are like data types specifically for the object. So they have given example. So if we just say that we have already seen it, like x16 plus Volvo will give us 16 Volvo, and 16 plus Volvo will basically give 16 Volvo, right? Let's see. Yeah. So JavaScript types are dynamic. You can just say x is equal to 5 and the x is now number, as well as you can on the next line declare that x equal to zone and the x will be string. Okay. So basically just like how Python is working, where it can like know what kind of data type a particular variable have. In JavaScript also, JavaScript engine knows what particular data type a variable is having once you declare its value. And if you are not declaring it, and by default, it is undefined. Again, so I believe the data type is now good. So let's look at the function. So JavaScript function is a block of code designed to perform a particular task, right? So function in general, if I say, then that will be, let us say, I have a value number x, like variable number x and variable number y. Okay. I'm getting C, that is A plus B. Okay, like input A and input B, and then I'm getting the value C, that is A plus B. So this A plus B, what is happening is basically the body of a function. Then we are getting some kind of input that will be the parameters of the function, and whatever I'm getting will be the what we are getting, like what we are returning from a function. So basically you can see they have written function. So function is a keyword that let browser engine know that we are going to declare a function. Then we will give the name of function, and then I will like have a round bracket where I will be declaring what is the what are the parameters of a function. Okay, if you have learned C and C++, you will see that you have parameters, or you may also not have parameter, right? Where you can just call a function, you can just write the name of function, and then you can say like rounded bracket and call it. It will run. Okay, there is also a way where you must give the parameter. If you are not giving the parameter, your function will basically not work. So here what I'm saying is that I have this parameter. What I want to do is I want P1 multiply by P2. Now we want function because let us say I'm saying x equal to x plus y, and then I'm saying z equal to x plus y. Then what we have is that I have to declare the value of x, that is 5 and 6. Okay, and I have to do this every single time. Okay, I have to write that 4 line of code every single time. But if I have a function, what I can do is I can just write a function of 3 line. On the 4th line, I can say my function 3, 4, I will get plus like 7. Then on the second line, I can say my function, then I can again give a different parameter, and then I will get a different output. So that is why we use function, where we don't know what input we are going to get, what parameters we are going to get, but we would like to get like output of that function. And we can also check like if we are getting the parameter or not. Later we will be sending how we will be learning like how to deal with the errors and like how to use try and catch block. So basically they have defined the syntax of a function. So function, then the name of function, and then the parameter, whatever number of parameter you have, and then the code has to be executed in this curly bracket. So this particular curly bracket, which I have highlighted, is the scope of this particular function. So whatever you are declaring in this particular function, if you are not returning it, it will be not accessible from outside. Let us say if I say let x equal to 5, then I cannot like access that 5 information. So let us say I have let equal to 5, and then I am declaring a function where I can say function, name of function. Let's not give any kind of parameter for now. And then I can see curly bracket, and then I can say let x equal to 6. After the function has ended, now if I say print the x, then I will get x equal to 5 because it is accessing the global scope, which is like available for the entire document, right? So that is also the case. So you have to see like where your variable is in what scope. Sometimes what happens is that interns, when they are new to programming, what they do is they are learning something and they try to do it, but they are not able to do it because they don't know things like scopes. When you are declaring a function, like you are not able to access the particular variable or you are getting the wrong answer. So just keep in mind that you have to cross check what is the scope of particular variable so that you can access it and you can use it later on. But basically for the for loop also, let us say I have like variable I, and I am saying that I, and then I'm performing some kind of thing, then the I will change because I'm changing the value of I using the for loop. We'll see what they are later. So to invoke a function, code inside the function will execute when something invokes or calls the function. So when an event occurs, when a user clicks on a button, okay, so we can invoke a function on a user click in the JavaScript, or when it is being called from a JavaScript code. In a JavaScript code, I'm typing the name of function and then the curly bracket and then giving parameter. That means I'm calling a function, right? And there is also like automatically self-invoking function there. I think again self-assured, right? Like you can there are some functions can be automatically be invoked. So let's take some examples. So again you can see that if I just run it, then I have this. So I can say that function, they have like 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. We have already seen this example. I can just say like 5, and then I can say 2 and equal to, that will be 10. Again, you can see that I have an ID of demo and I'm using inner HTML to print the value of X inside inside this element. Okay, so again, I'm using JavaScript to populate a particular element. Okay, what it is, so how it can help me? Let us say when I'm working with the backend and I'm giving some kind of data through a REST API. So I'm probably giving that data in a JSON format, right? So you can use JavaScript to access that data and then populate your whatever table or form you have and show that data in the front end. Okay. So this is also a main use case of a JavaScript. So remember these things, like you can use inner HTML to like type something inside an element. And also remember that you can use document to write something in a document, but don't really use document. It is not I wouldn't recommend it. So why function? Function you can you can make a reusable code, and you can also write code that can be used many times, and you can write use same code with different arguments to produce different result. Let us say you can also use modules where you can export a function and then use it on a different file. We'll see that at the end because modules are important. Because tomorrow when we will be learning Django, you will see that modules are really important. So today, although we have limited time, I would like to go over all the important concepts that we need for like Django and Python. So next, again, as we saw that we can write the name of function, and then on the rounded bracket, I can just give a parameter. Again, I'm giving 77 because I have parameter of Fahrenheit, and I only have one parameter. That is why I'm giving one value of 77. And then this function, like this, anything that they have given condition of, this condition will occur, and I will get the value out of it. Okay, so the function has a keyword function, name of function, parameters, curly bracket, whatever you are doing, and then you are returning something from a function. So remember it. Because in different programming languages, the way we do this is different. So you guys are coming from C, C++, it will be different for you. Okay. Again, I can also say that this particular statement will be saved in a particular variable. So let us say let x equal to in braces 5 divided by 9, then multiply by Fahrenheit minus 32, and then I can return that particular variable also. That is also possible, but this is just easier way of writing it. So just know that. Again, I can also save a function inside a value. Okay, I can also just say that there is a function, but I don't want to invoke it. I just will write in the name of function. As you can see, about 2 Celsius refers to function object, and the function 2 Celsius bracket refer to the function result. Okay, here I am just giving a function. If I check the type, it will give me function, but if here I will get the actual value. The actual result will be saved in the value. Okay. So next up, I would like to come over the objects. So as you see, like in objects, what we have is there is a key and then there is a value. Okay, I can write a bracket, then I can write the name of key, and then I can give a particular value to that. So let us say I have the car, so that will be the object, and then there is a key of name and the value is fiat. Okay, similarly there is object of car, I have name as model, and then I have value as 500. Similarly for weight and weight and color. So if I want, I can just write the name of object, and then I can say that start. I can say like drive. I can create methods based on this object. Okay, so similarly, as I said that we have this. So let us say I have the const, as we saw that previously, that it is recommended to use const when you are declaring an array or an object. And as we saw that array and object are basically of the same type. Like if you check the type, you will basically get object for both of them. But for now, you can see that I have the curly bracket, and even if I like and type enter, and then I'm going on a new line. I think now this is like more readable for you guys. Okay. So I think, and you are also familiar with this syntax. If in the Python itself, we have dictionaries where I can have the name of key and the values. So similarly, I have a curly bracket and then it is ending somewhere. I have the semicolon to say that like even if there is no curly bracket, it is okay, but I have a semicolon to like even if there is like no semicolon, it is okay, but I have the semicolon to say that this statement has ended. So you guys, I think you are familiar with this, where in Python dictionary we declare something like this, where we have the curly bracket and then we have the like the name of key and the value. So here I am saying I want to create an object of car. I want to give the name of key as type, name is fiat, and then the model and 500. And then if I want, I can say that car dot name of key, right? I have the type. So I can say car dot type, then I will get car type is fiat because the we have given the value as fiat. Okay. So this is the basic syntax of object. You can also create your own object in like the JavaScript. So you can see that value are written as name and value pair, name and value pair separated by a colon. Okay, so let's see what else we can cover. They are basically explaining it. Yeah, we can also like say like object name. So car dot type, or we can say car, then box bracket, then we can give the name of key particularly. Okay, that is also okay. So they are both like same ways of like getting the value of a particular object and its key. So we have like lot of methods also. Yeah, so I can say full name and then I can also write another function inside an object. Okay, so what I can do is, let us say I have first name, last name, and then ID. Again, the whatever the value like the type of that value is in the value. So I have value as John, right? So the type is string. For do it is string, and for 5566 it is basically number. Okay, I can also have a type of function where I can say function. Here I'm just, you can say I'm just saying function, and then I'm using the curly braces, and then I'm creating a function scope, and then I can say that return this dot first name plus the empty string in between, so that there is space between the first and last name. But this is basically like in Python, you must have known about self, right? So every class has a self where it can say that self class. So for my class itself, in this object, it is saying that for the particular object, that is person. So basically, if I want to get a value of something of like object inside the object itself, then I like from outside, what I will say is person dot first name. Then it will give me John. And if I say person dot last name, it will give me Do, right? So for, but if I'm like accessing it inside the object itself, then I will say this dot first name, then it will give me value of person dot first name. So remember this, like remember what is the concept of this in the object. This works differently in like arrays, as well as it works differently in classes, and like, you know, overall it also works differently. Okay, so if I just say that let x equal to this, then it will return me that this is a window, because my overall JavaScript and this web page is working in a window, right? So it will give me window. Yeah, so they have explained that in an object method, this refers to the object itself, and alone this refers to the global object. And when there is nothing and we are just using this, then that will be the global object. In a function, this refers to the global object. Like when you have a function, it will refer to a global object. And in a function in strict mode, where we are like defining all the I can say the type of variables and everything, this refers to undefined, because this is like in a global scope we have not defined anything, right? So that will be undefined. As I said, if you don't have like just you have defined a like global object, then it will not have any kind of value, right? By default, when you define it, only then it will have some kind of value. In an event, this refer to the particular event that received the call. So let us say if there is an element in HTML, and if I say that on click this equal to first name, so whatever the element value will be, it will be referring to that particular element itself. So we have a good this example. So let's see. We have already gone over this. So let's see. Okay, this is the same example. Yeah. So as I said, when the this is alone, okay. So this refers to the global object. So what this is saying is that, so let us, I have this p tag where I have ID of demo and I have p closing tag. I have not written anything, right? So if I have a script and I can say that let x equal to this, that is current global object. I can say that document dot get element by ID demo, and I want to print what is the like the value of this inside the inner HTML of p tag. So I will get value of x, which says object window, right? We have already seen what this is. Again, we have like function. Again, we are getting object window because again, we are just returning this. We are invoking a function and then we are returning it. You can see that we are actually getting the value of function because we have the rounded bracket also, right? And if I don't have it, then it will say function, my function return this, right? It is just printing the type of function it is, and it is just saying that this is a function. We are not actually invoking it. Again, let's invoke it. I'm getting object window. And if I say that return 5, then it will give me 5. So next is like strict. You don't have to like look at strict for now because it is like advanced JavaScript function. You will not actually need it for now, but we can look at an example. You can say we have undefined, we have like not defined it. Like in use strict, we are basically defining the type of whatever object we have. But here we have not defined it. We are just saying this. So actually the engine doesn't actually know the object window, what is the type of that. It is just giving me undefined. In the event handler, so this is what I wanted to also talk about. So let us say I have this HTML element, right? So on the HTML element, I can have like, you know, some, there are some predefined functions that are available for the HTML, where in HTML, remember we had attributes and the value, right? So I can say h1, and then I can have style equal to whatever style I want to apply. So that using that, I can apply like various kind of CSS on my particular element that will be inline CSS, right? So basically using that concept, we can have name of function that is on click, and then I can say that this style display equal to none, where they are again saying this. If I say there is nothing, like it was undefined, so it is not like giving me anything, it is just called. Okay, so I can also use on click, and then I can like type in the JavaScript code here also. But when I have on click, remember that you cannot use like, you know, this double inverted comma again. Whatever you are writing, you have to write single comma. Remember this again, just like in Python and C++, where you have the commas, like double inverted commas. If you want to print a comma inside the double inverted comma, you have to use single like comma. And in Python, we have like triple inverted commas also, so that we can print double inverted comma. But here we have backticks instead of triple inverted comma. Remember that. Okay, so you can again skip this part like call and apply. You don't actually need it for now. For like our project that we'll be looking at, we will not be needing it. But if you want to become a core JavaScript developer, I would recommend you to read this kind of function like call, apply, and bind. They are like added like just now. They are like in ES6 in after 2006 after 2015 this kind of methods were applied, and they are really good if you are working with classes and everything really like lot of time. But in JavaScript we will be only be using it for like working with elements and changing the elements based on like whatever data we are getting from the backend. So for now, let's look at the arrow function. So as I say, we have let and then the name of variable, and then I can give the parameters arrow function, and then I can see what it does. Basically, in Python, you have like lambda function where you can just like have single line of condition. So basically in JavaScript, what we have, so first I had to write hello, like whatever function name I want to give, and then equal to function, then parameter, I'm not giving any parameter, and then there will be function scope where I can say return hello world, and if I run it, I should get hello world. Okay, I'm getting the hello world after I'm invoking hello equal to. Now remember, we had what we had to do was we had to use the keyword of function, then the name of function, then the parameters, then we are like adding a function scope, and then we are returning something, right? But we can also say the name of function equal to function keyword and then the parameter and then the curly braces and what it is returning. That is also another way of creating a function. This is also a good way when you want to make a variable, like your function is inside a variable. So this is another way of like creating a function as well as invoking it. So here to invoke the function, I just have to give the name of my variable, and then I can say the rounded bracket, and I'm getting the answer, like whatever the return I was getting from like return. So I was getting hello world from the return statement, so I can print the hello world. And again, I'm using inner HTML to print it inside the p tag. Okay. So you can see that before, before and before arrow function and then without arrow function, as well as we can see that one liner also. So next thing that I wanted to see was various like if-else blocks. Okay. So there are also conditional statement in JavaScript. So what we have is like we have if, we have else, if and else, we have if, else if, and else. We also have switch statement. Okay, so we'll look at it. So to declare an if statement, what you have to do is you have to write if, and then inside a rounded bracket, you can write the name of condition, whatever condition is there. Let us say if I say if x is less than y, then I want to print x is like greater than y, and then I can also declare x and y, right? So that is one of the case, fairly self-explanatory. If you have used C++ and Python, I guess you already know what this is. Again, just like in Python, we have if, else if, and then else. We also have like if else as well as like yeah. So if, so instead of elif in Python, we have else if. You just have to type the else if where I have condition 1 and then I have condition 2. So let us say I have x less than y, but let us say x and y are same. Then I can say that else if x equal to y, then print this. And then I can say that if like there is none of these are true, let us say you have not even declared the variable, then you can say just say that x and y are not declared. Okay, something like this is also possible. And again, I think you know the concept of if and else, where if I have like I can write if, then the condition of like r less than 18, I can like print the greeting of day. So remember in the object we had array, object, and date, right? So we can also use date to get the current date. So if I say try yourself, now it says new. So we will see what is the new letter. But for now, you can say that you can use date. Then the curly braces is like inbuilt function provided by JavaScript where it like gives you date. And in from the date function, we would like to get the R's. That is currently what is the R. And then we can say that if R is less than 18, which basically is currently it is 3 p.m. for me. So it is basically less than 18, which is basically 15, I believe. So 15 is less than 18. So I will get greeting of good day. But if I say R is less than this, then I have good evening, because I am saying R is less than 15, but current R is 15 for me, right? So 15 is less than 14. That is not true. So I am getting else which says good evening. Okay, I hope this concept has also made sense to you. So second will be, where was it? Yeah, switch statement. Now switch is basically like, I have some expression, and now I have a different kind of cases. So difference between if and switch is, let us say in if and else, my line of code will be like from top to bottom, right? So first my condition 1 will be checked, then the condition 2 will be checked, then the condition 3, and so on and so forth. And finally, I will get the else statement. So let us say if I have some kind of error and I have, let us say, 10 different conditions, all of them will be checked and it will be quite slow, right? But in switch, what we have one condition and then I have different cases. And if the condition is satisfied, based on that condition, the particular case will be invoked. That means I don't have to check each and every case. I can just directly jump to a particular case. I think in C, there is a jump table where it stores the data. So it is taking some space, but it is faster than if and else. So again, how it was, so switch expression is evaluated once. As I said, the condition is always and always evaluated only once. The value of expression is compared with the value of each case. So whatever value I'm getting from the condition. So let us say I have X less than Y, and I'm getting as true, and I have case of true. So I will get the whatever value is there. And then I can also say that there is the case of false, and whatever is there, I can get that value also. So basically, if there is a match, the associated block of code is executed. So whatever is there, below case X or below case Y, that will be executed. If there is no match, then the default case. So basically, we have the else statement, right? So if the if is not working, else if is not working, none of the condition is working, then we have default statement, like else statement. It will always run, right? So whatever problem is there, the default will always be there. So it will always be there. We don't have to, like, we can say from the R example that we had, we can say that currently, let us say someone is like playing around with the code and they say that R is like equal to -1, right? So that is not completely possible, right? So in that time, we can print the default statement where none of the case is matching, that we can say that the time is wrong, okay? So next, so they have given example. So switch is new. So date and then get day. So what is the current date? So currently today is Wednesday, right? So if I go to try yourself, then it will say that today is Wednesday. And if we check this code tomorrow, it will give me like Tuesday, like Thursday. Why? Because it is currently running in my browser, right? So that is why I am getting the date that is possible for me. If someone is living in Canada, or let us say they are living someone far away where there is difference of 12 hours, then the day might be different for them. Okay. So basically what happened was case, and then I have the expression where it says new date, date function we are using, and then we are getting the day. It will be Wednesday, right? So now what is happening is that we are checking that case where day is equal to Wednesday. So only this kind of code will be executed where we are saying the stop for now. We don't really want to do anything. I just want to assign the Wednesday to the day variable. Okay. We have already declared the day, so don't get confused. See here, it says let day. Currently it is undefined, and after we have executed the switch statement, now we are changing the value of day, that is Wednesday, right? So now we can get the document.getElement by id demo inner HTML. Day is plus whatever the day is there. For me, it is Wednesday. Then again, it is explaining the break keyword. So when the JavaScript reaches a break keyword, it break out the switch block. So it will stop the execution. It will stop the execution inside a switch block. It is not necessary to break the last case. that is default. So block break ends there anyway, right? So when it reaches there, it will end anyway. If you omit the break statement, the next case will be executed even if the evaluation does not match the case. So just like how in if and else statements, it will check all the cases, you must add break after all the cases, right? So you can say that here it says break after each case, right? But it doesn't add break in the case number 6. If your program is running till the case number 6, that means you don't really need to add break because it is going to break anyway. The scope is ending here. The switch scope is already ending here. So yeah, so they have also explained about the default, but we have already seen it. So let's look at the for loops. Okay. So loops can execute a block of code a number of times, right? And this is why like we have programming. So the computer, what it can do is it has lot of speed, right? So the programmer can write the whatever instruction they have, they can give it a particular condition, but computer is really fast. So it is really good at doing the same thing again and again. So for loops can do it like iterate over something, or let us say they can print same thing again and again. So we'll see how it can be done. So for loop can execute a block of code a number of times. So in JavaScript, loops are handy if you want to run the same code over and over again, each time with a different value. So let us say I have text plus equal to cars, and then let us say I have cars object. Then I will be checking the first value, and then I am breaking it, and then I will print it. So this is how I will be normally doing it. So I will be checking for 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But for the for loop, I can basically say that in 3 lines. So let I equal to 0, where I'm declaring I variable for the particular for loop scope. I can say that I is less than car dot length. What is the length of car? And then I can say I plus plus. So increment I each time. So text equal to plus cars I plus br. So that will be basically text equal to text plus car I plus br, and then so on and so forth, until the for loop is running. So if I run it, you can say that I have this array, where in the array I have 0th place, first place, second place, third, fourth, and fifth, and so on, right? So I can say that let text equal to empty string for now, right? So the type is string, but the value is empty. We are not specifying a null. We are just saying that it is empty, but the type is string. Then I can say for let I equal to 0. Currently the value of I is 0, but I is less the condition is that I is less than cars dot length. So whatever the length of car is, unless the I is greater than I, let it run, right? And then I want to also increment the I. I can say that text plus equal to cars I. So this is basically I can also say that text equal to text plus cars I plus BR. Okay, so this is basically same thing. We have seen this previously also in the previous operators when we were learning operators. So this is also correct like JavaScript syntax. But again, this is much better. It is more clean looking code, and it makes more sense if you look at it, right? So if I run it, I'm getting the BMW, Volvo, Saab, Ford, and Fiat, and till Audi, which is the last element of the array. So there are, as they said, there are different type of loop in like JavaScript. In I think in Python there is only for, and there is also one or two more, but I don't think that there are a lot of type of loops. So for now, we can see that there is again a for loop that we saw. So loop through a block of code a number of time. We can say that n number of time, whatever your condition is, based on that condition, it will run. Second is for in loop, where loop through the property of an object. Right, we have an object, and I can say that let x in the particular name of object. So let x in cars, and I want to let it run for whatever condition is there. And then for off, so loop through the value of an iterable object. And then we have also a while loop, where loop through a block of code while a specified condition is true. And I can say that do while loop through a block of code while a specific condition is true. if the condition is not true, it will still run once. So let's look at how we can like write the for loop. So as we saw, we have for, and then we have expression number 1, 2, and 3. We saw that I equal to 0, and then I is less than whatever the condition was there, like cars dot length, and we saw that I plus plus. But if you have more expression, you can certainly add them. But 3 is like optional expression, and then we have the scope of this particular for loop where your code can like you can write the code to do whatever you want. So let's take an example for the next one. So okay, we already looked at this example. Okay, so if you omit expression 2, you must provide a break inside the loop. So expression number 2. Let's see what is expression. Defines a condition for executing the code block. Okay, if you are defining a condition to execute a specific code block, so you must provide a break statement to like break out of that code. So let us say I have like 4 elements inside my array, and I'm saying that for condition like I is less than 2, I want to print everything, right? But it will keep printing it. So what I will do is after number 2, so number 1, number 2, I will provide break so that it can only print first 2 elements. Okay, let's see if they have given an example. Okay, so they have, I think, given in the next. Yeah, so you can see that for in loop, so for, and then the key inside in object, right? So this was the basic syntax for the for in. Like key is basically, we saw in object, we had like object of car, then I have name, and then I have some value. So we have key in object. So let us say the name, and so let us say for name in cars, and then I can like have multiple number of cars, right? So let us say I have name and I have BMW, Audi, and this. So for all names that are inside the object car. So let's try to print it. Yeah. So you can see that we have const person where I'm just defining one for now. So f name John, and then do, and then 25, and I have a empty string again. This one is also same as this. So if I say txt equal to txt plus this value, so this is basically same as this particular function, right? It is still printing John Doe. And if I like don't do it, then you can see it is gone. And if I say, then it will print John Doe 25, because as we saw that text plus equal to person, and then the x. So let x in person is basically let x. So x may be any variable in person, right? So we are just doing it. I think it is pretty self-explanatory. It is just that we are writing it differently. We are writing it in a short form so that sometimes people get confused. But remember that when you have plus equal to, it is basically the first variable plus the again the same variable plus whatever the condition or whatever the value you have written. So again, they are explaining it. For in loop iterate over a person object. Each iteration return a key x, and then the key is used to access the value of key, and then the value of key is person x, right? So basically it was like x is each key, right? So it is first name is key, L name is key, and the age is also a key. So it is iterating over each key, and it is just giving the value of each key. Again, so for in over an array, we can also do it on array, as we saw that object array and type are basically of type object. So if I just say so I'm getting 45, and if I change it to like 66, I should be getting 66 over 9 and 16 and 4. It is again doing the same thing, text plus equal to number. So it is basically txt plus number of x plus br tag, which is like adding a break tag, right? That is why 66 on the next line. But if I I think now you guys can like easily understand it that I have text plus equal to, and then you can basically take it as y, right? So this is x and this is y. So x plus equal to y is basically x equal to x plus y. So if I don't have BR tag, then I'm not getting any kind of break in between, right? So again, the BR tag was important because we are like adding it inside an element, right? So if we are like adding it inside an element, so in HTML to go on next line, you need to add BR tag. But whereas in programming, we can just add a new line in C. I think in C and C++, we have a backslash n to go on new line. Okay, we have again a for each, which is a built-in function for a variable. So we can add like for each my function, and then it will basically give the same value as this. Again, this kind of function that we have, which are built in, the more you will like, start using the actual JavaScript, you will get familiarized with this kind of function, which are built in inside the JavaScript itself. Just like in Python, we have a lot of built-in function, right? We have sort, arrays, and pop and push. So this basically JavaScript also have those built-in function, but again, you have to explore them and you have to see how they are working. So if I just have to go on the array methods that we saw, you can see that we have a lot of array length. So array dot length will give me the length of array. Array to string will change the array like type of arrow to the string, like the values will change to string. Then we have array pop, where I think remove the first element, and push will like add the element at the end. The shift will basically remove the first element and make the second element by first element. Unshift will basically add the element at the start. We can also join, delete, and concat the element, and I can also splice the element. So let's look at like what is array flat and splice. I think this is new. You guys have not seen this in Python or C++. So let's see. Okay, so let's just go over from the start. Okay, so instead of last, it removes the instead of first, it's removed the last element of an array. So we have banana, orange, apple, and mango. So the mango should be removed. You can see instead of banana, orange, apple, mango, I only have banana, orange, and apple. Basically, for unshift, like for the pop, it is like so fruits dot pop, and pop method return the value that was popped out, like which we have removed. Basically, we removed the mango from last time, right? Which was the last element, if you remember. So we are getting that element because I can say that fruits dot pop, and I am saving it inside the PV demo one ID. We also have a push where the push method adds a new element to the array at the end of like this. So if I add kiwi, I will get it after mango. So mango, and then I'm getting kiwi. So again, we looked at shift and unshift. So array length and array delete. So it is saying that warning, array element can be deleted using JavaScript operator delete. Using delete leaves undefined holes in array. So when you delete something, it might be causing that this is an undefined, like, so it doesn't have any value. And we saw that when there is no value, it is undefined, right? Because we are not making say that this variable is null. If we just define it and don't give it value, and we are removing the value, then it will become undefined. So that is why it is saying that instead of using delete, you should use pop or shift. Okay, so pop and shift can again take some values, like take some position and remove from that particular position itself. Again, merging and concatenating array, we saw that. So I have like my girls and my boys. So first is like Cecily and I think Leon, then Emil, Tobias, and Linus. So if I concatenate it, then I should be getting like yeah. So I can get like merged list from that array, particular array, right? Again, so merging three type of array, we can again merge it. So I can use concat array one. So that is the name of variable. Don't like mistake is like as a name of function. So that is name of variable. So variable dot concat name of variable 2 and the name of variable 3, which holds the particular array. Okay, so they can also add like one more inside using concat statement. Yeah, so we had Emil, Tobias, and Linus, and we added Peter. So when we added Peter, it went to the last position. And we basically saw that if we are concatenating array 1 with array 2 and 3, so first elements will be like Cecily and Leon, second will be the array 2, and third will be the array 3. So basically splice is there. So let's see. So splice method can be used to add new items to an array. So when you want to add new items, so first parameter 2 defines the position where new items should be added, spliced in. And the second parameter 0 defines how many elements should be removed from an array. And the rest of parameter lemon on kiwi defines new element to be added. So splice method return an array with a like deleted items. So let's see example. Yeah, so first we are getting const fruits where I have defined name of 4 fruits that are banana, orange, apple, and mango. And then I'm saying that print the original array. So original array is like, again, the 4 fruits that we have. And in the new array, so what I'm saying is let removed. So basically this is the name of variable where I'm storing the removed values. So I can say that fruits dot splice to like position 2. I want to remove 2 elements. So lemon and kiwi are the elements that to be added. So in the get element by ID 2 with like ID demo 2 inner estimate. So I'm getting a new like array which is banana, orange, and lemon and kiwi because I have removed apple and mango. I have removed those 2 elements. And I want to add the element from the position number 2. So remember banana is 0, orange is 1, and apple is 2. So I am adding the lemon and kiwi from position number 2. Again, you can see that we have removed array where we have saved the what. So basically, it is actually returning, right? In function is like achieving something, it is doing something, right? So what we say that I want to give 4 parameters to the splice function where I have like position of the first parameter is position. Second position is how many element I want to remove. And the third position and onwards is basically the what are the elements that I want to add. So from third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and whatever is there, it will be elements that I want to add inside my array. So it will be, so basically what it will do that job, but it will return, like we are getting the return statement, right? So the return statement will return what are the objects that were removed from the array. We are like saving that return value inside a variable named removed, and then we are just simply printing the removed elements, and I'm getting the value as apple and mango. So again, let's look at the slice. So the slice method slides out a piece of an arrow into a new array. So it will create a new array. So this example slice out a pattern of an array starting from an array element 1, right? Yeah. So what happens was, so I had a original array where I had banana, orange, lemon, apple, and mango, but I sliced it from the position number 1. So 0 is starting, and then the 1 is orange. So from the 1 and onwards, I created a new array. Okay. So this is the slice method. So I think these are quite new method that are not really in the other programming languages also. So next thing that I want to look at, so we looked at the condition, we also looked at the looping. So loop various kind of loops like for, in, and for, and also we looked at the while, and also we looked at what is break. We saw how it is iterating using the for loop. We saw the type of, so let's look at classes. So basically classes are template for JavaScript object. Right. So what is happening is, if you like, you must have heard this previously also, that classes is like a template, right? So let's say I want to get a ticket to, let us say Delhi, right? So from Mumbai to Delhi. When I go to the like railway station, I will be filling out the form, right? So when I'm filling out the form, I have to give some kind of name. Okay, so that, let us say my name is Yash, and my full my like last name is Upadhyay. So that will be, first name will be Yash, and then the last name will be Upadhyay. So what I'm doing is that I'm creating a new instance of an object person where first name is Yash and last name is Upadhyay. Okay, that means from that template where, so in the template, I'm not specifying like what is the name of person or what it, I'm just specifying that you can get a first name and you can also get a last name. And now you can like give it to some like whatever I want to do, I can write code and perform any action I want. So for first name and last name, what I can do is I can book a ticket, right? So that is what classes are. We are basically giving a template. We don't know what values we will be getting, but we want to like perform whatever action we want using that particular data. And classes are like really advanced, where they can handle a lot of things. Okay, they can handle a lot of type of things, as well as the templates can be really sophisticated as we want. Let's look at the example. So in JavaScript, so we want to use the keyword class to create a class, just like function, where we are creating a function using the keyword function. What we are doing is we are creating a class using keyword class. Then always add a method named constructor. Okay, so this is the basic syntax where I am adding the name of class, and then I'm also like adding the whatever the class name I want to give. So in my case, that will be a person. And then I'm giving a class scope where I have the constructor. Okay. So here I have the class, and then the name is car of the class. And remember, when we are creating a class, we are creating like a class. The first letter of a class is always capital letter. Okay, remember it. So constructor, and then what parameters, like what we are expecting. So name and year, right? So the this dot name is basically car dot name and car dot year, right? So example above created name car, and class has two initial properties, that is name and year. So using a class, when you have a class, you can use the class to create the objects, where I can create a new object. So new keyword lets me create a new object every time I'm invoking a class. So let's say const my car1, so new, and then the name of class. And then remember, in the constructor I have provided name and class, name and year, right? So I will provide the name word, and then I will provide the year, right? So this will create a like new variable my car1 with like new object it will create. Let's look at the example. Yeah, so you can see that I have this my car1, and then I'm using class to create a new object, and then I can get that. So my car1 name of object, and then the key is name that we have created using constructor, and then my car2, that name will be Ford and Audi. I believe this was also self-explanatory. I think you have understood it clearly. So basically, when you practice like objects, after you have practiced object enough, you will be really like, it will become really easy for you to work with JavaScript. The main concept that you have to understand in JavaScript is basically objects, as well as like this basic things about programming, such as function, classes, and then arrays, which is like main data structure. And basically like data, the type of the value you have is basically JavaScript can know by itself, like if it is integer or if it is a number, or like let us say if it is a boolean, we don't have to specify it. So it is quite dynamically typed. It is really easy, just like Python. This is also really easy language, but you want to get enough I can say that you want to practice it enough so that you remember when to use this kind of thing. And also just go over all the syntax. Okay, try writing syntax one, then you will be easily remember all the syntax that it has. So let's look at the constructor method. So it has to have the exact name constructor. If I want to invoke that, I have to like write constructor and then the rounded bracket. It is executed automatically when a new object is created, when I'm using it in the new keyword. And then to use to initialize the object properties. Okay, it can be used to initialize the object property that we have created using the class. So class method is basically use keyword class and always add a constructor. We have already seen it. And then we have like method 1, method 2. This also see like we have car, and then we have age. So we can again say that create a new variable of date, and we can have a new date. And then because the new date has been saved inside date, I can say that date dot get full year from the date that we have saved in the like current variable date. And then I can say that this minus this dot year. So whatever the year is for the particular class. So let us say I have a car, and then I can say that Ford, right? So Ford dot year equal to 2019. So that will be like date minus 2019. Again, they are doing the same thing like for 2014 get element by id demo. They are like printing this value inside demo, and you can see that I can like write this thing on the next line also. I have written equal to, and then I can just write it on the next line. That is also completely fine. And you can just add a semicolon to let the JavaScript engine know that our statement has been finished for now. Okay, so as you can see that virtually all the browsers are supporting like JavaScript classes. You can see that also JavaScript classes were also, I think, introduced in 2015, so that all the browser that are supporting are at least 2015 or 16. So next up we have is JavaScript modules. So let us say I have a JavaScript file and I'm creating a variable. What I can do is I can say export and then the name of JavaScript variable. And then if I say import message from like whatever the name of the file is, then I can use that message. So if I just run it, then we can say that Jesse is 40-year-old. That will be a message like available in the dot message.js. So let's look at the more examples. So you can see that modules with function or variable can be stored in an external file. These are the two type of export, named export and the default export. So tomorrow when we will be looking at the Django, we will see that we are using it a lot, that is modules. So we will be creating different files and then we will be writing our code in that file also. And then we can like use the data and like we can use the modules function of Python to run a code that is available on a different page, like different Python file. And then we can get the result on the current Python file. So we'll see that tomorrow in action. But remember that modules is like important concept, as well as classes and function are also important concept that you should know if you want to work with the backend development. So tomorrow we'll be seeing that on hand. We'll be creating a project that is food order application, where we will be seeing how the classes and how the functions are actually working, as well as we will be like taking a look at how the modules are working, as well as we will be looking at the various backend technologies, like how to show the actual data from like databases on the front end. So for now, you can say that I have created a file of person.js where I can say that const name, then the name of person, and then I can say the const age 40, right? And then I can export the name and age variables. I'm exporting them. When I say export, that means it is available to be accessed from the different JS file that is available in like, let us say same root, or let us say when I'm importing it in my root file, in my root directory. I think we have already know what is root directory. That is my current working directory where my project is. Remember, when you are using like CDN, they save the data in your browser cache and then you can use it, right? So basically you can also download those files and save it in your root, and then you can give the path of that particular file and then use that particular function. So you can also like default, like let us say we have like in the message.js, I have like const message where I'm creating a function like name of function, and I can just write parenthesis. Even if I don't write function keyword, I can still create a function. Now this entire thing is a function scope. So in that I'm using the arrow function. That is why it is possible that I am not using function keyword. Remember that. So in the function, I can say that const name, I'm creating a variable name where I can say that it is Jesse and name is 40, and then I'm returning name plus is age, whatever age is there, and then is year old. And then I can say that export default message, right? So now this is available to be I can get it. So I can like access it from a different file, right? Remember we said import message from the, and then the path of the message.js. So I can use the import. So import actually, like I can import the name and age from the like person.js. We had person, and there I have like exported name and age, right? So I can do that. And I can also like export the message from this file itself. So if I click on try it itself, we can say that we get Jesse is 40-year-old. And we can also say that let text equal to my name is plus name, whatever name we got from importing. And then I can also say that am age, right? So I believe default concept is also clear for you guys. You guys can know that. So basically what we are doing is, let us say I am creating a variable. I can export that variable, as well as I can make a function and then return it. I can use default and then use the name of the variable that I have set for that particular arrow function. And then I can also export that particular function also, so that when I am invoking that function in a different file, I am getting the returned value. So next we have JavaScript JSON. So JSON is a way to transfer data. So we will be using that a lot when we will be working with the API. So let's see what are JSON. So JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. JavaScript is a lightweight data interchange format, and it is language independent, so it can be used with any language, and it is a self-describing, easy to understand. So basically, JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. So this is the example of JSON where you can create basically a .json file, and then you can use curly braces, and then you can give name, basically give an object name, and then you can give add what it will have. So here we have an array of implies, and then in the array I have multiple object where first object has first name John, second object has first name Anna, and the third object has name of Peter. Right. So basically we can create the data in this format. We will be seeing that a lot. You don't have to worry about this, as long as you are saying that export JSON, it will create by itself, and then you will get the JSON file, and then you can import it and use it however you want. So next that I wanted to look was, it was also really important. So that is JavaScript HTML DOM. So basically we have HTML DOM. So whenever there is a you can see the first is document, right? So this entire page is a document, that is my web page. And then first is the root element, that is HTML. Remember, we have HTML tag. First we have doc type HTML, and then we have HTML tag by itself, where we can say that lang equal to en, where we are specifying the language. And then I have two different I can say separation, where first is the head, which contains the metadata. Second is body, which what the main user can see. So in the head, you can say first is head, and then the most important thing, what the user sees, is title, and there is also fav icon. In the body itself, I can have any kind of element. Let us say I have a element, h1 element, or let us say a can have attribute of href, or they can also have a text which says my link, start the a tag and the end the a tag. So in between you can write the link, and that will be visible on the web page. We can also have a header text in the head file also, right? But we saw that they can be on same level itself, so that a and h1 are not nested. First we have a, and then we have h1, and we can also have that inside h1 tag I can have another tag, and then that will be visible with the formatting of a. That is also possible. We have seen that nested element is possible in HTML. So basically, if the element are on the same level, we have to show them in same level, and if they are on the next level, then I have to go on next level. I have a head, and then the child element will be title. And in the Visual Studio Code, you can see this I think you can see my ID. So I have HTML root element, then I have body, and then I have script, which is currently I'm working. If I go to body, then I am jumping to the body, and if I say HTML, then I have jumped to the main HTML tag, right? So you can easily know this DOM tree if you are using Visual Studio Code or any kind of text editor which has this kind of representation. So you will know that who is the parent and who is the child element of the currently element that you are working on. So we have again DOM method. So DOM method is basically how we change the inside HTML, as well as how we add new CSS, as well as how we add new HTML element inside my document. Right, so JavaScript can change all the HTML element in the page, and JavaScript can change all the HTML attributes in the page. So whatever HTML element are there, as well as their attribute. So let us say I have an image, I can use DOM manipulation to change the source of that image. So if I just go here for this example, if I go to JS introduction, now you can see that I have this turn on the light and turn off the light, right? So if I click on turn on the light, then it has turned to yellow. And if I say turn off the light, it is white. So what is happening is we are using we are like playing around with the attribute of image, right? So we have get element by ID. The ID is my image, and then I'm saying the source, that is src. I want to change it to pick bulb b of dot gif, right? Whereas originally it was pick buffer. Okay, it was there. I think there is some different. Let's see. Okay, and then there is again different. Okay, maybe there is same name. We have to see what. Okay, let me see. So on click element get ID also. Yeah, so current source is actually pick bulb on GIF, right? And it will say turn on the light. So this is the button that I'm clicking on. So when I click on this button, the source will change to pick bulb on .gif. Whereas if I say that button on click, on click we have seen is the inbuilt function that can be attached to like in a HTML element, and we can use it just like attribute and the value. So I am saying is that get element by ID image and change the source to the pick bulb of .gif. And by default, when my page is loading, let us say I'm reloading it. So by default, I want my bulb to be off, right? But if I say on, so by default, if I load it, see, okay, if I load it, the code will change because I'm using an environment. But you can say that if I have it run, if I have on, and if I'm running it for the first time, by default it is on. And if but if I change the turn off light, it is changing turn on light, right? And if I'm running it by default, it is on. And let us say, if I say off, so by default it will be off. If I click on turn off, it is off. If I click on turn on, it is on. So this is how DOM manipulation works. We are basically accessing the attribute of an element to change that attribute, or we are trying to add a new element, or we are trying to like change the property of an element, right? Although we don't have much time today for the DOM manipulation, but let's look at some of the examples. So DOM methods we will cover, which are the basic method. We will only need this method to work with our project actually. And then you guys can explore on your own. I will try to give notes for you guys. So let's see. Yeah. So if I open like this markdown file, so you can see I'm writing a markdown, like I'm writing notes. So currently it is not like completed. But what I will do is I will add the important, like what are the important methods that you should know. Then you can just read it. So this important method that we have discussed in the training session, it will be included. That is what I'm saying. But I will also include the things that we are not discussing in the training due to time constraint, right? But they are also all optional. To understand JavaScript, you don't really like need to know this. If you just know the basic, then you can just know on your own that okay, this is also a method, and you can just come in like W3 school, and then you can read what it does. You can also go on like MDN docs. So if I say MDN docs, so this is like alternative of W3 school, MDN. So here you can see that we have other examples. So let us say HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you are comfortable with this, you can also read the same thing from the MDN web docs. They're basically same things. Okay, it is just that I'm choosing W3 school documentation so that you guys can also practice it. Like, so they have exercises and you guys can practice this also. In MDN, they don't really have like exercise section, but they do have projects that you can create. But again, exercise is good thing if you want to remember what you are learning, right? So again, as we saw that we can use inner HTML and then the name of ID and the name of ID, or let us say class, to change the inner HTML or inner function of a item. So basically, yeah. So as I said, we can find the HTML element by ID. We can also find the HTML element by the tag name. We can also find the HTML element by the class name, as well as we can find the HTML element using the CSS selector. So let us say I can say that get element by tag name, and then I can add the name of tag. So dot class name will be that particular name of tag, right? So, but if I want to get an ID, I have to say hashtag demo1 to get the name of that demo. and also HTML learning by the HTML object collections. So I think, yeah, so get element by ID, they are giving the name of ID, get element by tag name, they are giving the name of tag, that is p tag. And remember, it will find all the PV elements that are currently available in your document. And again, like you can find it by the tag name or by element. Same using the class name. So you can get element by class name and then the name of class, as well as you can say that query selector all, where you are selecting all the queries where we have the tag P with class intro. So all the P tag, but only those P tag that has the class of intro. I can have 4 P's, but I can only like add intro class on the 2 of them. So that is also possible. And we have seen that in the CSS class that how to like change the CSS selectors. So again, yeah, so HTML forms. So I can like get the HTML form, and let us say I have form element. I can get all the objects inside that form element also. They have given example of form, but let's look at the CSS. Yeah. So to change the styling of any CSS, what you have to do is, so for HTML, we have inner HTML, right? For styling, we have dot style. So we have document, basically web page. So get element by ID, name of ID, and then instead of inner HTML, we have style, and then the name of property. So let us say we have width, we have height, all of these things can be changed if we say style dot name of that property and then whatever value that we want to give. So here you can see that I have p tag where it says hello world, and then document get element by ID p2, and then it says style color, and then I'm specifying the color. By default it is black color, but you can see that it is blue color. So basically these are like important things that you should be knowing. So let's go through what we have like covered. So we first cover how to print outputs, and then we saw what is the basic syntax, and then we saw like comments, variables. Then we saw what is difference between let, const, and var. And then we saw what is arithmetic operator, different type of operator like comparison, arithmetic, as well as we saw like assignment operators also. We saw difference between equal to, and triple equal to. We also saw what are the different data types. Basically 8 data types are there. We saw what they are, as well as we saw like how to create function, how to create object, how to create array, how to work with arrays, as well as we saw like various methods on array. We saw how to create a class. We saw how to create like objects, and we saw how to work with dates. We saw the new keyword we have, and then we saw the I think in precedence is basically like, let us say I have 5 plus 6 plus 7, right? So it will start from left to right. So it will first start 5 plus 6, and then whatever the sum of 5 plus 6 is 11, that will be added to 7. Okay. But if you have a rounded like bracket, then the bracket will be solved first, and then it will move on from left to right. But let us say multiplication and division has more priority than plus and minus. So in your code, anywhere if there is multiplication and division, then that will be performed first, and only then plus and minus will be formed. And let us say there is multiple plus and minus, multiple multiplication and division, then it will follow from left to right. Okay, so remember the precedence. Then we saw the array methods, and then we saw what is JSON, as well as we saw the HTML DOM element, that we can manipulate the DOM using inner HTML, as well as we can manipulate the style using the style keyword. Okay, so these are basically the important thing that you should know. And if you know these things, if you have like I believe if you go after this meeting, you are revising it tomorrow, you will not have any difficulties keeping up with the Python as well as keeping up with the Django, right? So I think, sir, we can conclude here for the day. Hello, sir. Yes, I think he's away. So any of you guys have any question, they can ask me. If not, then I think we can conclude here for the day. So just revise these things that we have learned today. Go over the video again. I will upload it, provide you with the link, so that tomorrow when you are coming and when we are having refresher of Python, you guys can basically understand what is modules, what is classes, what is views, and what is like different kind of things, functions, and list that we have. Okay, so we'll be learning that, and then we'll be working with the actual backend where we will be creating our website. Okay, so I think we can conclude here for the way, sir.